Are we live? Are we live on the internet now? Sorry, I'm having a bit of a chuckle here because our you can't see him, but our off-camera director Phil Bridge just really made me laugh out loud as he was pushing the live button. So hi everybody, thanks for being here. We're just going to give everyone less than 1 minute to jump on. We're covering a lot of important ground today with today's webinar, and I don't want anybody to miss a single word. So let's just get everyone a minute. I am seeing some familiar faces here so far, which is super cool. Thank you guys for being here. This is really exciting. This is, if you can't tell from the screen, this is a Star Wars themed deck. So it's kind of like living a dream right here, because like two of my most favorite things in the whole world, my family, number one, but aside from them is Star Wars and digital marketing. So this is like the perfect Venn diagram of awesomeness. And we should probably start actually talking about what we're here to talk about today. So Phil, if you want to cue up the deck, my man, we're ready to get this going. My name is Jason Stum. I'm the director of strategy at Dealer Inspire. And for those of you who might be meeting us for just the first or second time, we are Dealer Inspired. I'm just one of 600 passionate employees on a mission to future-proof dealerships with one connected platform that sells and services more vehicles more efficiently. And today we're here to help you navigate the new rules of engagement when it comes to ad targeting, along with how you can make the most out of each and every click you win. So look, this really isn't a secret. Privacy concerns are at an all-time high. 81% of Americans think that the potential risks of data collection by companies outweigh the benefits received from giving up that personal information. And so with this massive shift in consumer awareness of their digital persona and exactly what's known about their online presence, tech companies have started to change not just how data is collected, but how personalized data can be used in the targeting of digital ads. And like it or not, when 81% of consumers see a prompt like the one seen here on the screen asking them to track their activity, they're going to think it's a trap no matter what that personalized ad benefit is that's put in front of them. Really, here's what we're up against, everybody. Google has recently rolled out a personal advertising policy update that prohibits you from targeting certain ads based on zip codes. And Apple is about to roll out a framework that makes users on iOS devices explicitly opt into ad tracking on an app-by-app basis. So if you continue with your digital advertising efforts the same as you always have without accounting for these new rules of engagement, you're going to find that your ad targeting aim is going to be just about as good as about Imperial Stormtroopers, which for non-Star Wars nerds, that's like comically terrible. It's really not good. And I know that can sound a little scary, but trust me, it's not. With proper optimizations to your campaign targeting, you can fix your aim so you can get back into bullseyeing womp rants on your T16 back home, just like you did in the old times. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit too deep into Star Wars references there. I should say here before we get things going, we do have people watching the chat over here. So if you have any questions as we go, feel free to ask them in the chat, and we will do the best to get the A's to your Q's as we move on. But in order to fix your aim, we're going to need a plan, which is why you and we are here today. And the good news is many Bothans did not die to bring you this information. Seriously, guys, I could do this all day long. First up, we're going to show you how you can dial in your aim on Google. Next, we're going to help you prepare for the tech wars. We'll show you how to skip targeting and just connect with shoppers where they're at. From there, we'll show you how to make every visit count. And lastly, we'll give you some stellar tips and tricks you can use to make sure you're providing a personalized and welcoming experience to your website visitors. And in order to do that, I am calling in Blue Squadron today. They're going to help us break this down step by step. So let me turn my camera off here so I can make sure everyone can do. Okay, let's bring them on here. We've got Brittany Meyer, our digital advertising supervisor. We have Mike McShane, technical analyst here at Dealer Inspire. And we got performance manager, Katie Simon. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
How does it feel being a part of Blue Squadron today? Are you pumped?
So very excited if I knew what that meant.
I'm sorry.
It's really important to be on Blue Squadron. Clearly, not only did we bring these three people on because they're amazing subject matter experts, but they're three of the biggest Star Wars nerds we have here at Dealer Inspire. So let's, real quick before we get going, what's your favorite Star Wars movie and why is it Empire Strikes Back? Let's start with you, Brittany.
Well, Jason, while I have seen Star Wars movies over the years, I couldn't tell you which ones I have seen. I am so sorry.
Okay, that's okay. I feel like I was misled there. I thought you were way more into it than that. Katie, what about you? What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
I like any of them with Baby Yoda.
Okay. Also, not a movie. That's a TV show. Mike McShane, save me from myself, my man. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
I'm going to come in with Phantom Menace. I know it's not the number one picked, but it's my favorite because of my childhood, and I love Darth Maul. So,
well, there you go. At least we got somebody on the webinar who's speaking the same language as me. No, I'm kidding. Of course, we didn't bring Katie and Brittany and Mike on here for what they know about Star Wars. We brought them here for what they know about our subject matter today. So I do have to say that adjusting your aim on Google ain't like dusting crops, kids. Without precise calculations, you can fly right past it in a market shopper or bounce too close to an area outside of your DMA. That'd mess up your cost per conversion real quick now, wouldn't it? So strap yourselves in, because our own hotshot digital advertising supervisor, Brittany Meyer, is going to show us how we can get smarter with our targeting on Google and Facebook. Brittany, you keeping up with all these Star Wars references so far? Did I lose Brittany already? Oh, no. I can hear you.
I'm so sorry. Let's get this show on the road and talk about adjusting your Google aim.
Let's do that. I'm sorry. I had my own technical difficulty too, because I forgot to turn my camera back on again. So clear the slate, adjust the aim. Let's go.
Let's talk about it. So amid these growing privacy concerns that Jason just prepped you up with, Big Tech has been taking steps to update their privacy policies and guidelines for how you can and cannot target users on their platforms. Google, for example, updated their HEC guidelines so that you can no longer target by zip code if your search ads direct users to landing pages that contain financing information or link to a credit application, which is pretty much every page on your website because it is in your main menu. While this officially did roll out in October of 2020, we did get started on that early here at DI to know exactly what sort of performance changes we could expect across our industry moving forward. So if we hop into this next slide here, you'll see an example ad highlighting 0% financing, no lease payments, etc. All those types of messaging land on a page that references that finance, that payment option, or directly links to a credit application, so it can no longer be used to target by zip code. We have to move to more of that radius methodology. So the question is, if you can't target by zip code, what's the best way to target? Number one, there's a couple different things that you can use here, and one of them is that Google Locations report. This report allows you to target and get down to a really granular level across a variety of different options. So things like region, county, cities, neighborhoods, etc. You can really review your Google Ads performance by that user location on these different levels. And then based on that data, you can then adjust your geo-target to make sure that you're aiming accordingly. So you might have an area you're spending that big money in, and you might see a lousy amount of traffic, a lousy amount of leads, and it may be just time to cut it. So with that sales data, just making sure you're really visualizing where your sales are coming from helps create that better visual and that better idea of where you really are going to get that highest return on your sales and marketing dollars. So now you have your geo-target prepped. Let's talk audiences and what we can still do there. So one area that I really highly recommend you use is layering something called Cars.com audiences. This is huge because we're able to track a shopper as they move from Cars.com to our dealer websites. Having that cross-shopper data allows us to match back against DMS sales and compare those outcomes to all other journeys. The end result is that we see that Cars.com shoppers are 4 times more likely to buy than a visitor who didn't visit Cars.com during their shopping journey. So you may be thinking, Brittany, that 4x number sounds all good, all dandy, but how did you get there? And there's a ton of data and analysis that went into that. So where it came from, we analyzed 3,000 DI websites, 140 million shoppers, as well as the 19 million monthly shoppers on Cars.com, and looked at the probability of buying a vehicle for a shopper who only went to a dealer website versus a cross shopper who went to a dealer's website and also went to Cars.com. So with these Cars.com audiences, they were able to track shoppers as they move from Cars.com to our dealer websites. This allows us to match back to those consumers, compare their outcomes versus if they didn't visit Cars.com. We found that Cars.com shoppers are 4 times more likely to buy than a visitor who didn't visit Cars.com in their shopping journey. So that's great. That's wonderful. There's a lot of data that went back behind into building this, and that's through the analysis of 3,000 DI websites, 140 million shoppers, and 19 million monthly shoppers on Cars.com. And we found when we find these cross shoppers versus someone who only visited a dealer website, that not only are they 4 times more likely to buy, they're also likely to look at 5+ more VDPs than the average shopper and 40% more likely to return to a DI site. So these are very serious shoppers.
So in addition to this Cars.com data, we also partner with OEMs to feed us their in-market audiences from the tier 1 site down to that individual rooftop level, which allows us to prioritize these shoppers who have done their research and are ready to buy soon. And the performance of these tier 1 audiences in coordination with that tier 3 audience speaks for itself, with 171% increase in click-through rate and 88%
Oh, Brittany, I think we lost your audio. Brittany, are you there? I can hear you now.
Okay, one second. I'm moving real quick. I'm getting reset up and I will be just 1 second.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear and I can see you with my eyes.
Perfect.
With my ears.
Apologies about that, guys. I was having momentary internet issues. I think we might be resituated. So I'm going to dive us right back in for the sake of time and we'll get rolling again. So there's a couple metrics here that I really want to highlight because it is so important. With these in-market audiences from that tier 1 and tier 3 level, you get 171% higher click-through rate and 88% lower cost per lead. And I'm sorry, but who does not want to pay 88% less for a lead? And then a 225% higher lead rate. There is just about no other audience that can give you things like this. You really want to make sure that this is something that you're leveraging within your overall marketing strategy. So we've talked about all these different pieces and layered them all together. And when we layer them together, we have a shopper who is ready to buy. They've done their research, they know what they want, and they now are just looking for who can provide it to them. So it's imperative to get in front of this shopper when they are searching. So that's where these lovely bid adjustments that you see on the screen come into play. So they've been on Cars.com. Great, let's up our bid by 8%. And they've been on the Ford.com site. Even better, let's bump them up to 10%. Plus, they're in your own backyard. They should be coming to your dealership. We want to make sure that they show up at your door. So we're gonna bump them up to that 15%. And then if they have this great search query that's super high intent, very low funnel search with lots of detail, and we have that exact model in stock, they're our dream customer. We're bumping them up to an 18% bid to ensure Google knows just how important that customer is to us. Now, we've talked about other audience sources and how they can help you, but some of your best data is actually going to be your own. For instance, your own inventory metrics can be used to make smart decisions at scale. And at the moment that a consumer is searching, you don't have to go backtrack and find all of this information. We can make that change in the moment. So if your inventory sells on an average of 45 days with an average of 24 VDP views at the time of the sale, awesome. Let's use that information to inform the performance of your marketing and to adjust your strategy accordingly. With Fuel for Search, we can make those tweaks and adjustments on your behalf, and they can be done for just about any feature available in your inventory feed, and there is a lot of options available. And then kind of further diving into your own audience data and what you can do with it, your CRM is a gold mine. There's a ton of opportunity to retain these clients lease to lease, car buy to car buy, and in service. This email list from your CRM can be uploaded directly into your Google Ads account, and that allows you to place a premium on your current customers by leveraging that data to stay in front of them when they return to search again. And guess what? Just because you tell Google that you're willing to pay more for this customer doesn't mean you actually will. So we actually find that on average, you pay 16% less to reach this customer and see 171% increase in click-through rate, which is a win-win situation for everyone. And keep in mind, you can segment out that email list in a variety of ways and adjust that messaging then accordingly to those customers. So this can be based off different stages of their buying cycle or their service journey. And whether that may be something like coming off lease or overdue for that next service, you can then tailor that copy and that messaging specifically to their situation. Now, talked inventory data. We've talked CRM data. Now let's talk website data. You've got the shopper to your website. Great. But now they've left and we're anxiously sitting here awaiting their return. This is where marketing comes into play. Make sure your customer is not forgetting about you. Typically, when you hear about remarketing, I'm sure you likely think banners. following shoppers around on the internet. And while those are both important pieces of this strategy, there's also a very important search query or search component to it as well. So you can utilize for marketing for search to segment your audience based on the pages they previously visited on your site, and then leverage them as bid adjustments or segment out tailored ad copy based on their website history. For example, maybe a user spent a ton of time on your service page, but never actually booked a service appointment. When they go to search again, let's leverage that with a more aggressive offer in the ad copy to encourage them then to seal that deal and service with you today. Now, audiences and geo-targeting play a very overall important part in your strategy, but make sure you're not neglecting your ad copy. This is the very first welcome a shopper receives from you and your business, and it's important to give them the information that they need up front. Your geo-target may not be quite as tight as it once was, but that really increases the importance of ensuring that your ads are hyper relevant and very tailored to what your shopper is looking for. As you can see in this particular example, the shopper is looking for a used 2019 Honda CR-V with low miles. And lo and behold, you have exactly what they need. So let them know that. Give them information like color, if it's a one-owner vehicle, how many miles are on it, pricing, etc., and drive them directly to that inventory that they're interested in. And a quick shameless plug, because I love our Fuel tool. All of these features are available in your inventory feed typically, and our Fuel platform helps create these highly detailed ads at scale for you across your entire inventory, and it will adjust and update just as quickly as you can sell. So I've teased a couple times throughout this presentation so far the importance of reaching those low funnel shoppers as they are searching. And there is another way you can let Google know to prioritize them as well. And that is through smart keyword bidding decisions based on how the shopper is searching in the moment. For instance, someone who's searching for a 2020 Honda CR-V may still be in the research phase, playing around with different models, checking out those local offerings. But when they start to include kind of these other additional features, things like trim, whether they're looking for new, used, certified pre-owned, colors, etc., it's telling us that they know what they want. So now they're just looking for where they can actually get that. So in this instance, we want to prioritize that low funnel shopper first and foremost. And it doesn't stop there. These bids can be adjusted to help drive your goals through bidding features like days on lot, VDP views, etc. Really, your inventory feed is your oyster or your baby Yoda, if you will. It's really a key
it's your
part
baby
of that
Yoda,
strategy.
Protected at all costs.
Protected at all costs. That's your customer, and that's who you want, and that's your data that's going to get you there. I'm trying, Jason. One day I'll understand Star Wars. And then I know I've talked a ton about Google and Google search and targeting improvement. But one of your biggest search opportunities available to you is actually to expand your reach into Microsoft Bing advertising. With 6.4 billion monthly searches happening in the US on Bing and about a 37% PC market share, the shoppers are clearly there. And these Bing shoppers like to spend. On average, they spend 35% more than the average Google searcher, which is crazy. So I'm sorry to say, if you aren't advertising on Bing yet, you may have missed the Starship. That's what they're called, right, Jason?
Close enough. Close enough.
Close enough. But it's never too late to get started. Plus, there is a very cool new feature in beta for Bing called Microsoft Inventory Ads. These ads allow you to showcase your current inventory with a ton of detail, including an image of the vehicle, which is my personal favorite part of this. It's getting that content directly in front of the eyes. They can visualize what that car you are offering is right from the search results, which is great, as well as it includes kind of that really important information like pricing, location, etc., which just gives that overall even better experience to your shoppers from search to when they hit your sale or hit your website, excuse me.
All this is awesome, Brittany, but I want to give you just a minute to catch your breath. So I want to bring on Katie. Katie, let me ask you this. So you're front and center with our clients every single day. Did all the work that Brittany and team put up front pay off for our clients? Can we look at the results? Did it work?
Jason, in the immortal words of a young Anakin Skywalker, it's working! At least that's what he looks like in this Giphy. I actually have no idea if that's what he's actually saying or sounding like.
That's exactly how he's saying it.
Perfect. Well, as you said, the team clearly put in a lot of work to ensure, any necessary geotagging changes were made to resemble the exact targeting that was used before. And, the results are positive across the board. I mean, take a look at this. Of course, impressions increased by 7.8%. Clicks are up 1.23%, but take a look at that conversion rate. It's also up 1.56%.
So up across the board is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So we always like to see that. And for anybody, if you're not running all your Google ad campaigns with us, it's super important to connect with your provider. Or, if you're comfortable, do some digging yourself just to ensure that your KPIs haven't been negatively impacted since the Google update went through and since they updated all those policies this past October. The easiest way that you can do this, the first place to start is to compare the performance of September 2020, which is the last full month prior to that update, and compare that to November 2020, which is the first full month post update. If you're seeing a dip in that performance, get on the phone with your Digad provider and dig into those campaigns. Look at things like, average click-through rate, total impressions, clicks, and conversion rate. Oh, and also lost impression share due to budget. Definitely want to start with those. So now if you look back over all the performance of your campaigns for the last few months, and you do see that there's been a drop compared to the months prior to Google's updates, obviously you need to work with your Digad provider to correct those issues using the optimization strategies that, Jason and Brittany have talked through so far today. But more importantly, I highly recommend that you start using Prism if you're not already, which is our proprietary reporting dashboard to create alerts that actively monitor the performance of your Google ad campaigns, and it will actually notify you when your KPIs dip below or even exceed a defined threshold. So that way, if something doesn't go as planned, you'll get a notification. So there's no need to be in the weeds of that reporting day in and day out because Prism's got your back. And also, it's really cool if you're already a DI client, you have Prism and it's free. So just make sure you start using it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Prism is the best. I so wish this was the thing back when I was in the dealership. And not to get our pop culture references confused, but it's literally one dashboard to rule them all. Yeah, I know I did it. I went there.
No.
But if you're a DI client and you still haven't been into your Prism dashboard yet, you got to check that out. Reach out to your performance manager and they will be happy to set you up. Okay, thanks, Katie. We will check in with you in a bit. But for now, we have to prepare for the tech wars. So here's what's coming, everybody. With the release of iOS 14.5, which should be rolling out like any day now, Apple is going to take a giant step in providing data transparency by introducing their app tracking transparency framework. Rolls right off the tongue. If you haven't heard, when this update arrives, iOS device users will have to explicitly opt in to having their online activity tracked for each app they use on their iPhone or iPad prior to opening the app. So companies like Facebook, who rely on targeted ad revenue, not the biggest fans of this new landscape that Apple's ushering in. And, they're having a bit of a tech squabble about it. But since we know 81% of consumers don't trust the benefits are worth sharing their data for, we're expecting a lot of people to opt out of this. So Brittany, if you manage to catch your breath a little bit here, can you walk us through the situation and what it means for our dealer friends?
Of course. And Jason, it's kind of like a double-edged laser sword. Get it? On one side, this update makes a lot of sense for the typical end user who's concerned about their digital privacy and wants to understand how and why their online activity is being tracked. On the other side, it does create some challenges for small businesses and their marketing partners to really ensure that they're able to reach that local in-market audience. Again, like the Google update, we're doing what we can prior to the ad tracking transparency framework rolling out to make sure our clients can maintain their campaign performance even throughout these shifts in big kind of what's going on with big tech. Now, here's the secret. Most of what we just talked about is also available for your social marketing initiatives. Leverage those in-market audiences, leverage your own CRM and website data, and leverage dynamic inventory ads as shown here on the screen. You can see that there is a really great opportunity to get that inventory directly in front of the consumer. These ads also allow you to reach those shoppers who left your site with the vehicles they were interested in, maybe didn't submit a lead, but you can show them those vehicles again so they don't forget about you, as well as some similar models that they may also be interested in. Now, these advanced targeting options often see an average of 144% increase in click-through rate and a 50% decrease in cost per click versus a traditional Facebook interest audience. So make sure that you're using some of these more advanced techniques to reach that in-market audience and really get into that nitty-gritty on Facebook. But there are also some additional audiences that you can leverage on social. For example, we do have a unique partnership with Oracle, which provides audiences on the Facebook platform that are extraordinarily granular and can pinpoint highly specific potential customers from a variety of different sources. And with that kind of data, we can really do some pretty amazing things. For instance, as you can see in this ad right here, we can target Honda Accord owners who are nearing the end of their lease and preemptively offer them a unique offer for continued customer loyalty, which is huge. Making sure we're retaining those customers has become more important as the years have gone on, especially with shoppers visiting less dealerships when they do go to buy again. And then we also partner with another very cool company called Quorum, which actually tracks mobile IDs to a set location. So for instance, a competing dealership lot. And with their highly sophisticated store visit reporting, we can actually use that to create and build Facebook audiences that you can then target on Facebook. So these high intent audiences see a 2 times higher conversion rate on Facebook and lead to a 30% higher time on site post-click. So you can really hit it home with a message that's tailored to them based on that location that they visited. So for example, with this ad on the screen right now, for shoppers that have visited the CarMax up the road, we can conquest those shoppers with the message, "Don't pay the max," and talk about the benefits of shopping with you instead. And it doesn't just have to be local competing dealerships. For example, if you're a luxury dealer, you can also use this tool to target a local golf club or other relevant businesses where you have an opportunity to reach customers in a new and unique way.
So, hey, Brittany, I want to talk about these last 2 slides really quick. So just to make sure everyone is picking up what you were putting down here. So even if I'm an iPhone user when this update rolls out, and even if I'm like, no, Facebook, I do not allow you to track me, we can still use the Oracle and Quorum data, just like you described, to really dial in our social campaigns, right?
Exactly. So this data will still be available even post this change.
And that is amazing. And that is what you guys need to know. Brittany, I really appreciate you working through the technical challenge there. And just for sharing all that knowledge. It really was sweeter than a big old cup of Aunt Beru's blue milk. Thanks for joining in on the fun today. And look, everybody, while Google and Facebook are 2 places you need to have a presence so you can be present when someone is actively searching for you, or to make yourself discoverable when someone's scrolling through their social feed, those aren't the only places you can make a meaningful impression with in-market shoppers. Now, look, I know this is going to sound obvious, but having a presence on third-party marketplaces makes a lot of sense here. I mean, when people visit cars.com, they're not shopping for power converters at the Tashi station. Am I right? No, they're shopping for cars. So the thing to remember is that marketplace shoppers, by definition, are in market. So whether it's cars.com, Facebook Marketplace, or somewhere else, those are local in-market shoppers that you can reach directly on those platforms without too much difficulty. It's also probably an understatement to say that our media consumption habits are drastically different today than they were even, just a couple years ago. I think we all agree that video can be the most impactful form of advertisement you have at your disposal to build your brand and to drive action. The problem is with traditional broadcast and cable advertising, you're wasting 95% of your views on an audience who isn't in market or who is playing on their phone when your TV commercial airs. Now, imagine a world where you can ensure that your video creative is being viewed only by consumers who are without a doubt 100% in market to buy a car. I mean, that's not science fiction, kids. That's real. You can do that today by piping in pure audience data to power your creative across devices and platforms. You can reach in-market shoppers on YouTube, Facebook, and a whole host, a galaxy's worth of over-the-top streaming apps wherever they go on whatever devices they use without wasting those valuable impressions. And look, we obviously are talking a lot about paid media here because that's a big part of your business. But having an optimized organic presence on the search engines when people are searching for things like Chevy lease specials or Toyota dealer near me, that's equally as important. So having that connected search strategy where paid, organic, local, technical SEO. They're all working together so you can control your own backyard, and the organic search results more important than ever. And also, let's not forget the power of good reviews. Pretty much everyone, like literally everyone, is going to check out your reviews prior to initiating contact with your dealership. But even more important than that number of everyone, it's important to know that 86% of people say that reviews posted more than 3 months ago just aren't useful. They're not fresh enough. They're not relevant enough. So having a steady stream of reviews is kind of a big deal. And don't need to get into all the tactics here because we did a whole webinar just on upgrading your review strategy for the new year, which you can find over in our webinar archive. Just go to dealerinspire.com and look for webinars up in the main menu, and you can check that out when you have a little bit of time and when you want to brush up on your review game. Okay, now the second half of this webinar, it's all about making the most out of each and every visitor to your website, regardless if they get there from your paid advertising or organic presence. And to help us navigate these waters, we're going to bring in Dealer Inspire technical analyst Mike McShane. Hi, Mike. How's it going, buddy?
Hello there.
Hello there. Was that your Obi-Wan? Hello there.
That's my Obi-Wan.
That was good. That was good. So what are we going to talk about, my friend?
Well, now we're going to talk about, since we have the visitors on our website, how do we make them count? How do we get them to convert on our DI website? So this is always the question we get, right? We have them now. How do we turn those visitors into leads? So a couple ways we can do this. So if we move on, how do we get more leads? Well, we have 1,000 visits. We have 1% conversion, 10 conversions. Well, there's one way we can do it. We can increase our visits. If we increase our visits and keep that 1% conversion rate, now you're at 20 conversions. But who really wants to spend more money on getting more visits? You have those visitors on your website. Let's maximize them. So let's work on that second number, that conversion rate. All right, so if we increase our conversion rate to 2% from those 1,000 visitors, now we're at 20. Now you're getting more and more leads. Is that cool?
That's very cool.
Right on. So let's take a look about how we can do this. How can we start to have more visitors convert more on our website? Well, we've talked about this on other webinars. A fair amount of website conversions are going to be taking place on the VDP. This is where people go to find the most about the details about the vehicle, and then they have those options to then reach out to your dealership. We see these in CTAs. And so take a look at your CTAs on your website. Do they make sense to those users who are in that funnel and hitting your page? Do you have too many CTAs on your webpage? We know at DI that having too many CTAs could cause confusion to the user. So if we just bring those down into a more singular CTA action, are they more willing to convert? Because you're not confusing them with so many options. They know what they're there for. Let's start to engage with them in that meaningful way to get them to convert at a higher level. So how do we know what CTA works best? How do we figure that out with your audience? Well, let's take a look at possibly some A/B testing on your website, but also in a real life example here. We had a website that had all these different CTAs on their page. They had get e-price, schedule survey, or schedule test drive, check availability. A lot of these have the same functionality to them. And so which one is the user going to pick? They don't really know. So what we found is that a lot of people are engaging with our explore payment options. They want to talk about the car. They want to engage there. And this is what brings up our conversations. And so then you can engage with them right there on the website in real time with conversations. It's a great way to start that conversation without having a static form that everybody is totally used to in the market now. Let's change that experience and give them more of a free-flowing conversation. They want to talk about the car. They want to know the certain details of that vehicle. So let's give that to them. And so in this example right here, we removed the couple of CTAs that had a similar functionality. What did we find out? Our online shopper leads increased, our total goal completions increased, and our goal conversion rate also increased. So just always keep that in mind. And so something that I've touched on is removing that friction of that static form. A lot of consumers don't want to send in their information that way. They don't want to just send it off and then you have it there sitting with you. They don't know when they're going to be reached back out to. They don't know. But if you put that functionality of your chat system right there next to them, they have that option to start to engage with you, and you get to speak with them live. What could go wrong there? So always kind of think of that. Always kind of think of how can we improve our website to match where our users are in their funnel. And a lot of that can be done by utilizing things such as A/B tests, finding out what really resonates with your audience more than others. But continuing on making every visit count. Here's something that you might not have thought of, but you know how important landing pages are to your advertising efforts, right? Like, we know the landing page is an opposite of an exit page. If your landing page is the first page a user views when they're visiting your website, an exit page is the last page they viewed prior to leaving your website. So you can often use these as tools to find out why you might not be converting as high on a page. Again, there's a real life example here on your screen. This page of Honda 30,000 miles service, what to know, was getting a lot of landings onto this page, but it had a relatively high exit rate there. Why are they having a high exit rate there? Is this where their journey was stopping and people are leaving? Could this be solved with a simple CTA or a redirect link that takes them onto that next page where they can continue their journey? In this case, it could be to the service page, or it could, again, open up conversations or have a way to engage with them on, do you have any questions about this, right? So we're starting to bridge that gap from just letting them lead. You have them on your website. Let's turn them into that lead for you.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point there, Mike, that you bring up on the exit pages. As it might be something that you guys haven't thought about looking at before, but you can sometimes find some pretty cool actions that you can take that will ultimately improve your overall conversion rate, or at least your user experience. I got to ask though, Mike, exit rate, is that the same thing as a bounce rate? They different?
They are totally different, Jason. So your bounce rate is when somebody comes to your website, they land on a page, they don't interact with anything, and they leave. That's going to be registered in Google Analytics as a bounce. Now, where exit page is a little bit different is that somebody can be going through your website, they're taking some interactions, but they're hitting a certain page, and then they're leaving your website.
So it's just the last page viewed in an overall website session. So
Yes,
1,
sir.
2 pages, 100 pages, whatever, it's the last one. Cool.
And it's the last one of their journey. So a couple other tools we can use to find out what might be creating friction and help improve that user interaction on your website and is Google Analytics Rage Clicks. This is something that we can put onto your website that you might not know, but it can point out when there is possibly a dead link, when somebody is on a page and they're expecting something to happen, but they don't. And they go there and they click on it really, really quick. They get really angry, just like Anakin there on the page. And then that interaction could lead them to leave your website. If we can identify those before they become an issue, we can help with that customer journey so that it's a nice free-flowing journey. They have no issues. And when they're ready to give you that lead, they're going to give it to you. So this is just a tool that you might not have heard of before that we can utilize in Google Analytics and see what people are having troubles with, if they are at all on your website.
Yeah. And so, Mikey, I think you mentioned to me earlier that Rage Clicks you can track in Google Analytics. It's just what, a little custom script event kind of thing that you got to set up?
Yep. So there is a custom code aspect to Rage Clicks that we would have to place into GTM, which then interacts with Google and with your website to let us know when a rage click happens. It is completely customizable as well. So yeah, no problem. And then this leads me into another tool that possibly you guys don't know about, and it's pretty new. But Microsoft Clarity, it's a new tool to help track engagement on your website. This actually has rage clicks already embedded into it, so we don't even need that custom code that I told you about. This actually tracks them right there on the platform. This also has heat maps on there, so we can identify where people are clicking, where they're lingering on the page with their mouse. It's just another tool that we can kind of utilize to have a view into a customer's journey and maximize it, and hopefully figure out how we can give you that lead.
Yeah, Microsoft Clarity is pretty cool. I've been playing around with it a little bit myself. And if you guys were on our website design mistakes webinar from a couple months ago, we talked about utilizing heat maps and session recordings with a couple different tools that were available out there. That was before Microsoft Clarity came out. So this is just a really streamlined way to access a new free tool to get some really important insights about how your website performs with real life users.
Mm-hmm. And my last point before I get out of here is probably the most important. If I leave you guys here with anything today, always ongoing optimization of your websites. There's always something to try, and there's always something new to implement, whether it's A/B testing, whether it's trying out a new CTA on a page, or maybe it's a new engagement with a consumer. Maybe it's a new type of a blog post or something like that. There's always new ways to engage and keep your website up to date to bring in and maximize all your visitors. We know that there's seasonality, so why are we standing still during seasons? There's always ways to improve. So let's just work on that and continue it. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you hopping on and going over some of that with us. We're doing pretty good on time. We got a few minutes left here. So next up, let's bring back on Katie, who's going to show us how we can welcome every visitor with a personalized experience. Help me, Katie Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Thanks, Jason. Well, a personalized experience for your customer leads to faster, easier, and a more enjoyable click path. And as we talked about and think is so important, obviously, more conversions. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is one of my, in my humble opinion, the coolest ways you can set yourself apart from your competition, but also the most underutilized. So what I'm talking about is our Personalizer tool. And if you don't know about it, Personalizer gives you the opportunity to create that personalized, unique experience for your customers based on, what they're shopping for, how they want to shop, and even where they're located. Actually, there's a bunch of different behaviors you can target, which some are listed out here. But I know, like for instance, recently here in the Chicago burbs, a personalized homepage greeting talking about a great deal on snow tires would be pretty slick. Yes, I use that intentionally because I'm talking about the snow and it's slippery. Okay, moving on. So because you guys are live with us today and you've made it this far, I've gathered some of my insider favorites to get you guys started with creating this personalized experience. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is a powerful one, and really the limit here is just subject to your creativity. You can create a geofence location and give that location that personalized experience. So let me just break this down for you. So I've created a geo around the city of Wheaton, and I'm now, for only the people in Wheaton, giving that personalized message of buy online, we deliver to Wheaton. And anyone not in Wheaton isn't sitting at home super jealous that they don't live in Wheaton, because they're not even going to see this messaging at all. The force is strong, but Personalizer is stronger. All right. So yes, you can fight the dark side, which is going to be your competitors, obviously. But you can do that by placing geofences around their lots and letting your customers know that you're going to beat their price. Right here, you can beat them by $500. So why not drive that extra 5 miles and save with you instead? And heck, get a better experience. All right. So, no, you don't need to know how to do Jedi mind tricks to be able to give that personalized offer for the exact vehicle which they're already shopping for. All you need to do is place a rule set in for if they viewed a specific model, then they'll get an offer that says that specific model. Or even better yet, if they come in from a specific ad campaign, let's say that you're running for the Ford F-150, they're going to get a Ford 150 offer. Super simple, but super powerful. All right, and just to mention, Personalizer isn't limited to just your homepage messaging. You can display personalized offers in the form of banners on the VRPs. Also, if you have our messaging platform conversations, what a great way to just encourage them to get their questions answered and engage directly through a banner, through the top of your results page there. So you can, re-engage them, and just by clicking that button, they're going to open up that chat experience. Okay, so we know many of our dealer partners extend some really generous special offers for the neighbors that serve the community. And another way that you can personalize that experience is to add that personalized message or banner that could highlight those, military personnel offers, hospital workers, and teachers in that geo-target area. So you can make that target around schools, military bases, hospitals, so on and so forth, just to get that message out. All right, you can also target your customers based on the devices that they love. We know that whether you're Team Apple or Team Android, you are—
Team Android!
All right, I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. But your customer wants to make sure that their next vehicle is equipped to sync with their device of choice. So what we can do is we can tell shoppers, hey, we know you're on an iPhone, so let's put a personalized message to let them know that they can search by vehicles that have Apple CarPlay. All you have to do is add the device rule set, as you see here. All right, so the trade-in demand, especially, all my clients are really keeping that as a big area of focus for 2021. You can target those customers as well, who've already raised their hand to say they want to trade in their vehicle, and direct them right into conversations where they can start walking through the trade-in process step by step and get an estimated quote in seconds. So there's no coming from maybe a trade-in campaign that you're running from Facebook and trying to find your trade-in page on the website. Nope, that landing page can have a personalized message just for those folks. And once they click on into that, they can start that trade-in process right within conversations. Beautiful, chef's kiss. All right, so we wanted you to be able to put these strategies to the test and put them right in place and hit the ground running. So because you're here watching this webinar, we are providing, make sure you check the chats, we're providing all of these creative assets here for you. We've got all these personalizers, VRP banners, and more for free. So make sure, again, you check the chat so you can grab those.
Katie, did you just go full Oprah on everybody who came today?
Yeah, you get some assets, and you get some assets.
I love it. That's awesome.
Maybe
the
next webinar can be Oprah themed.
Yeah. Yes. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. All of this personalized user experience is all it's doing is just teeing up your team to, close the deals and make that digital experience easy. But don't let that be the end of it. Make sure your team is treating every lead that comes through just like a walk-in. They want to be able to make sure that they're handling every live chat that comes in during business hours if they can. Utilize the ability to take video walkarounds of the vehicles, to give that online test drive experience. Work deals online together. There's nothing stopping from you guys from giving that, Vroom and Carvana experience with all the tools you already have through digital retailing. We have some awesome previous webinars that go over how to do all that in detail. So make sure you check out the digital selling strategy webinar and also the play offense strategy. There's tons of great webinars in that library. All you have to do is head to dealerinspire.com and click on webinars.
There you go. Well, thank you, Katie. And we teased a couple previous webinars that you can stream on demand, and I will tease our next webinar as well. Next month, we're going to be talking about developing a modern retail strategy, which you're going to want to tune into to check that out as well. We managed to get through it, everybody. We did it. I want to thank Katie and Mike and Brittany for being on the webinar today to talk through all this good stuff here. I hope you guys were taking some good notes, maybe grabbing some screenshots here or there. To keep everything organized. But just a quick review, we're going to adjust your aim on Google by optimizing your targeting to layer in more data to keep winning on Google. You're going to prepare for the tech wars and leverage new data sources to drive consistent performance. You're going to be where the shoppers are because marketplace shoppers are in market by definition, so meet them there. You're going to make every visit count, so optimize your site for conversion and funnel visitors to your desired outcome. And lastly, you're going to welcome every visitor. You're going to create personalized experiences to deliver the most relevant messages to drive conversions. And for that, I thank you. Again, I apologize for a little bit of technical difficulties here, but we made it. Hopefully the content sticks. And we will talk to you guys soon. Hopefully we'll see you next time on the next Dealer Inspire webinar. Have a great day, everybody.